Welcome back, everybody. It is week 15. Jesus Christ. This season is already almost over. We're already looking at the last 4 weeks of the season. The playoffs are basically here, and we have yet another pick 'em to make 134 and 74. I went 8 and 7 in predictions this week. Seems bad, but just a lot of upsets across the board. Like, not a lot of people got all these games right. I mean, it's very difficult, and also Eagles losing is what it is. We'll talk about it later. Anyways, next up first up actually, we have the Chargers at the Raiders. And with the Chargers, no game is ever a gimme. That's obvious for sure. But there has to be some desperation because with all the talent on this team, they have a record of 5-8. I mean, you have Justin Herbert, right? You have some pretty good. You have Keenan Allen. He's playing good. Um, like the weapons aren't the worst thing in the world. They're not good, but they're not the worst thing in the world. Like, and the defense. I mean, it is what it is. It's called by Brandon Staley and whatever. But I mean, the Chargers have to be feeling some desperation. This should be a playoff team. And again, you're playing against the Raiders who, they had some nice flashes with, Antonio Pierce, but I mean the truth of the matter is that it's just not a good team. So I have to pick the Chargers here to win this. And I know no game is a gimme with the LA Chargers, but they have to win this one. They just have to stay alive. Next up, you have the Vikings at the Bengals. These teams have the same record, but this is just not a hard game. The Vikings did win last week, but they won 3-0. I mean, could you imagine being the Raiders? There were no points all game except the Vikings got a field goal with like 2 minutes to go or something. It was seriously just that bad of a game. The Vikings are terrible. They already replaced Josh Dobbs with Nick Mullins. I don't know if that's going to be a lot better. And the only thing that he could do at the end of the game was just get a field goal. It's mind-boggling that game even happened. I watched the highlights. It was one of the worst displays of football I've ever watched. As you would expect. God, the Vikings are horrible. They're being essentially carried by this defense. And Jake Browning has been insanely hot over these past few weeks. It makes you wonder if it's really, Joe Burrow or the system. Fun argument to have. I think Joe Burrow is obviously an incredible quarterback. But, I mean, it really does make you think, Jake Browning is having a lot of success. But yeah, I'm going to pick the Bengals to win. They're just on a really hot streak right now. I think they could make the playoffs even without Burrow. Next up, Steelers at Colts. Dude, I don't know. I really do like the Colts, and I know I predicted them to lose last week, but you're just running into a bullet train of Jake Browning. I think Steichen is a great head coach. He's making the most of this offensive core, and the defense has been playing well enough, and it's definitely good enough to contain a Steelers team who in the past 2 games has lost to Arizona and New England. It should be good enough. And also, wait, is Kenny Pickett starting this game? That's a very important detail. I mean, I would still pick the Colts even if Kenny Pickett was starting, just because I don't think Kenny Pickett is that much of an improvement over Mitch Trubisky. We all know Trubisky's trash, but Pickett isn't any good either, so it's not the biggest improvement you're receiving there anyways. I think that, the Colts are just better coaching, better offensive coaching for sure, and just a better offense in general, I would say. Broncos at Lions. Man, I don't know why 75% of individuals are picking the Lions. I could not give you a reason for that. It doesn't make sense. I mean, you look at the Lions right now, they look atrocious. They just lost to the Bears. They lost to the Packers the week before, and the week before that, they played the Bears again, and, like, they had to, like, come back. They make too many turnovers. You're going up against the Broncos defense that has improved greatly. You're just going up against I mean, their defense is absolutely, the Lions defense is absolutely atrocious. Broncos offense is more than good enough to get more than enough points. And with how, inconsistent the Lions have been on offense, Jared Goff has been, declining back into his usual self lately. Like, they still have a good offense, but this Broncos defense has been shaping up. And, the Lions defense isn't good, and the Lions offense is good, but pretty inconsistent from time to time. I'm going to pick the Broncos to win this game and, pull off a shocker in Detroit. Next up, Bears at Browns, and the Bears are on kind of hot streak, but I like where this Joe Flacco thing is going. I mean, he is one of the better, that was some of the better quarterback play that they've had all season. Even including Deshaun Watson's time there. I think he's definitely more than enough to, support the run game and, let this offense function, actually. And as long as their offense can function, we all know what this defense can do. This is the best defense in the NFL, pretty much by far. I think Justin Fields is definitely going to have a rough, big, a lot of things on his plate going up against the best defense in the NFL. But Justin Fields has been playing good recently. Don't want to take away from that. I'm not the biggest Justin Fields supporter, but he's been playing well. Next up, Falcons at Panthers, and look for as inconsistent and whatever as the Falcons can be. The Panthers are just clearly the worst team in the league right now. I don't see them winning another game, and that is that. As much as the Falcons could even try to give the Panthers the game here, it just won't work. The Panthers are the worst team in football, and that is that. I mean, you're just throwing a rookie quarterback into the worst situation, like, ever. Bucks at Packers. Give me Green Bay for this one. Jordan Love is okay. So they lost to the Giants. It looks really bad, and a lot of the issues that were there at the beginning of the season creeped up. Joe Barry had Joe Barry masterclass, right, on how to be literally god-awful on defense, especially at the end of that Giants game. It was really bad. They're coming off a loss, and the Bucks are coming off a win, but the Bucks are like the same team every week. You don't see a lot of differences in how they play. Their offense is pretty much average. Their defense is pretty much average. They never really change. They don't go. They have like almost no inconsistencies. Like, this is a pretty average unit, an average team. I think that the Packers do win here. Because I think that, Jordan Love has been playing very good besides, like the Giants game and whatever. And they had a lot of injuries that Giants game too. I believe that the Packers can get back on a hot streak here, end their schedule off with a bang. I really do. This is a tough game. Texans at Titans. I need to know if Stroud is playing. I'm going to call this an incomplete pick. If Stroud is playing, I hear he has a concussion, MetLife turf. It's just the worst thing in the world. I'm going to pick the Titans for now until I can be like 99.9% confident that Stroud is playing. Even if Stroud is playing. This Titans team is, really taken off. Will Levis has progressed really nicely. What, they were able to do against the Miami Dolphins defense, they absolutely blew it in the last 4.5 minutes of that game. That must have been extremely painful. What a choke. And, I'm really high on them, but I'm also high on the Texans. I'm high on Stroud. I really love what he's done this season. If he's actually going to be there to play this game, and let's see, his receivers were also injured for the Jets game, so that also was a pretty big reason for them not being able to do much on offense, even when Stroud was in there. Those receivers, yeah, Stroud kind of made them, but they did make a big impact. They didn't matter quite a lot. Sorry for the stuffy nose and stuff. I'm just recording this while sick. If you have noticed, I don't know, maybe you have. Jets at Dolphins. I'm not going to get too encouraged by that Jets win. I mean, they injured C.J. Stroud. Their defense is still excellent. I'll take the Dolphins any day. Zach Wilson is going definitely almost any. What is it, improvement over Tim Boyle? Even Zach Wilson. But I still see the Dolphins as, obviously the better team, even though I do think they're pretty fraudulent. They're just a better team, and I mean, their offense is actually capable of doing things against the Jets offense, and it isn't injured to hell and back. So, I think the Dolphins take this one pretty easy. But if the Jets do somehow manage to pull off an upset, I don't know that a 9-8 team is enough to make the playoffs, but it could. So maybe if they pull this one off, Aaron Rodgers could come back. I don't think it will happen. I think that the likelihood of Aaron Rodgers coming back, is extremely unlikely at this point. Not because of the medical thing. It's just because it wouldn't be worth it at this point in the season, because there's not a lot to play for at this point in time. So, Giants at Saints. And I hate the Giants. And I want them to lose this game so badly. But I just find it almost impossible to pick against them here. I mean, it's the Saints. Derek Carr sucks. He's awful. He is absolutely terrible. Okay. He's awful in the red zone. The Saints are just, not a good football team at all. They have some nice pieces on defense, and they play pretty well on defense, but on offense, they will drive down the field and just, not do anything in the red zone. They'll turn it over. They're just not a good team. I wonder, what was their last game again? Because I know the week before they got absolutely slaughtered by Atlanta somehow. How do you do that? How do you get slaughtered by Atlanta? No, dude, Tommy DeVito is going to absolutely crush this Saints team, and the Giants are actually going to be one step closer towards, maybe achieving those playoff dreams. Another thing about the Giants is that Brian Dable is just carrying, a dead corpse of a roster, that actually somehow is trying to take them to a playoff spot. That I highly doubt that happens, because they still have to play Philly twice. And Philly definitely has their number. But at the same time, who knows? With how the Eagles are looking right now, anything can happen. This team sucks. I'll get to that later, but I see it impossible for the Giants to lose here. In all honesty, Chiefs at Patriots. Do I even have to explain anything? Mac Jones is done for the year. Bill Belichick, we already know that he's going to be fired. Robert Kraft confirmed it. The Patriots are a hot mess, and they're on that quest for Drake May. And as for the Chiefs, sucks that you guys have no receivers, but, with the schedule they have, it's pretty impossible for them not to, at least clinch the division, right? I only see one future loss in their schedule. It's really easy from here. So even if the Broncos do it out, I don't see it happening. Because the Patriots are just really garbage. Commies at Rams. The Commies are gonna put up a fight, but this Rams defense is frisky, and this Rams offense has been really, really looking super good. They're 6-7. I think that it's going to be the Rams and the Packers competing for the 6 and 7 seeds when it's all said and done. This team's looking really good. Matt Stafford's looking really good. They're playing against a Commanders team that has effectively no defense. Their defense is absolutely atrocious. Expect the Rams to put up 35 plus, and expect the Commanders. I think they'll also put up a decent amount of points. This game should be a fun shootout, kind of. But I still think the Rams take this one because Matt Stafford is just great. Great receivers. Kyron Williams been playing well. I like where the Rams are headed. 49ers at Cardinals. I mean, do I even have to explain? The Cardinals are going straight into a steamroller. That's all I really have to say. I mean, Cowboys at Bills. This game is going to be a very fun one to watch. Look, I know I'm an Eagles fan, right? You expect me to cheer against the Cowboys. You might think that this is biased, but I'm going to pick the Bills here. It's not because I think that the Cowboys are just not good or anything, or like they're frauds or whatever. They blew us out by 20, okay? The truth is the truth. Hurts to say. They absolutely ragged on our defense. Our offense couldn't get anything done. And that's the truth of the matter. We fumbled 3 times, okay? They're like the Eagles aren't good enough. But I think, and I know that we beat the Bills earlier in the season. So you're like, well, why are the Bills gonna win now? Josh Allen. I mean, do I even have to say anything else? Honestly, these are the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL gonna be dueling it out right now. In my opinion, I think that Josh Allen and Dak Prescott are the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. But number 1 to me is Josh Allen. I mean, if the Bills do actually win out a pretty tough slate of their next 4 games and go 11-6, I just don't know how Josh Allen isn't the MVP. I mean, Sean McDermott is, Bills fans have been turning on him for the past month. Ever since they were 6-6, they've been turning against Sean McDermott, and a lot of people have been turning against him, wanting him to be fired. Their defense is absolutely atrocious because it got injured to hell and back, and Sean McDermott hasn't really helped that much. His defensive play calling is good, but I mean, he's the head coach of the team. You don't want a head coach that's only good. You want a head coach that's generationally great if you're going to get a defensive head coach. And then, the receivers, the surrounding cast isn't the greatest in the world. Why do I think the Bills will win? I think that Josh Allen is just going to will his team to win. And get in a shootout with this Dallas team that I don't know that, let's face it, really. How good have the Cowboys been in these one-possession type shootout games? Yeah, we know they can beat good teams. That's not my concern anymore. How good would they be in an actual, shootout? I'm just saying, right? They face a team that's actually able to put points up on the board against their defense. What I do think that Dak Prescott is the second best quarterback in the league. I do think that. And I do think that his surrounding cast is better than Josh Allen, but I don't know. The Bills are hot right now. Josh Allen's hot, and I think a hot Josh Allen is going to take this Cowboys team down a peg. Ravens at Jaguars. Pretty great Sunday night matchup, if you ask me. I just never really believed in the Jaguars all season, though. I'm just going to be honest. There's a lot of things off about them. It's just off with them, right? Their offense is really good. You have Trevor Lawrence, he's good. Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, but there's just doesn't feel like it's clicking properly. And this defense is good, but it's I don't know. I feel a lot more confident in Lamar. I feel a lot better about Lamar. I feel better about this Ravens offense in general. He's been taking this Ravens offense places that I just don't feel like Jacksonville is there. I mean, they're just having miscommunications. It's not all there. And, you saw it in the Browns game where they got, outdueled by Joe Flacco. And I mean, they weren't able to do much in like the first half against the Browns defense. Ravens defense is also very good, by the way. I don't see it. I don't see it for the Jags. Eagles at Seahawks. If the Eagles don't win this game, in fact, if the Eagles don't win out in the next 4 games, I really do believe that our season is over. Like, it already looks over to me now. Like, I don't expect, you know, us. I mean, seriously, how likely is it actually that this team even gets past the divisional round? Like, honestly, if we played Dallas in the divisional round, do you actually does one actually think that we would beat them? If we somehow win the first seed, because the Ravens are able to pull off an upset against San Francisco, I would consider it an upset at this point in time, by the way, because San Francisco is a steamroller of a team. But let's say that the Ravens actually do beat San Francisco, and the Eagles win out and they win the 1 seed. Do I see this team playing Dallas in the divisional round? Or hell, even the Packers or the Rams? And I know we beat the Rams earlier in the season. I know that, but it's just, I mean, week 5 isn't the same as the divisional round, right? And I don't trust this defense anymore like I did in week 5. They were actually playing somewhat decent football. They looked like they had it together, kind of. The defense these days is letting up everything. I thought we were going to get crushed in week 5 because I thought this, this defense just isn't good at all. Like, it's a mess. It's a mess of a defense. The defensive line is really good, but it doesn't have that, Nick Bosa, Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons. But the defensive line isn't even at the heart of the issue. The secondary is absolutely atrocious. It's one of the worst in the league. Everybody's old. Everybody's washed. Everybody's literally Celtics Shaq. And like the Eagles corners in 2023, everybody's Celtics Shaq and can't tackle except Reed Blankenship. And Sean Desai is terrible. Brian Johnson is terrible. Sirianni, I don't think is good. I think that we might actually, like, real talk, what does Sirianni actually do in terms of, like, schematically? What does he do? What does he do? Why shouldn't we fire Nick Sirianni to get someone that can, run, like, a real great offensive scheme? Get a Ben Johnson in here. Because it feels like we're just shuffling through offensive and defensive coordinators if we even get good ones, right? And, like, that isn't gonna, because the Eagles, guess what? As long as we have all this talent on our team, our offensive and defensive coordinators are gonna they're gonna be the ones getting picked off, right? And that's what we saw last year. That's why Shane Steichen's gone. That's why Gannon's gone. And I know we didn't like Gannon. I know Gannon couldn't do anything, in the secondary. He called really bad soft zones. But at the end of the day, I mean, this D-line is not as good as it is without Gannon. Because, he designed some really, really good blitzes. He did. And now Desai is just absolutely horrible. He doesn't do anything that Gannon did. And he has the same soft zone coverages. He doesn't know how to make the best of this defensive roster, because I think that this roster is good enough to not be the second worst defense in the NFL. It's frustrating. That's my Eagles rant. Oh, wait, I haven't even talked about the offense yet. The big problems with our offense. I think that our receivers are playing with limited effort, except maybe Dallas Goedert. I don't know how Smitty and A.J. Brown had one massive drop and a fumble each. Impressive stuff, really. That's all I can really say about it. And Jalen Hurts, he's fine. He's good at all, and he will have his moments for sure. I think that Jalen Hurts is one of the more clutch QBs in the National Football League, if not the most clutch, at least based off from weeks 1 through 12. I don't. He's weird because, like, you'll notice that if the Eagles are like, actually up or in position to, like tie the game or like take the lead, at least early in games, the Eagles offense just doesn't look good. I don't know what it is about the Eagles offense, but everything looks hard. Like, everything just, we don't run the ball well anymore. Our run game just, I don't know. It's Brian Johnson. It's not only that we don't run the ball enough, but something just seems off about the run game. Like, we're getting stuffed a good bit of the time. And I don't know. And then we get stuck in third and longs a lot because we're trying to pass the ball too much. And it feels like this offense is just trying to look for the big play every play. We're doing less of the RPOs, less of the easy buttons, less of the easy plays. We're doing all that less, and we're trying to look for those shot plays, like, almost all the time. And, sometimes we get it. Sometimes we get that dig route on the middle of the field on a third and long, and, but it feels like a journey to get to the end zone every single time with this offense. At least that's what it feels like to me. And Jalen Hurts, he's a good quarterback, but he does have his issues. I think that he could definitely, most certainly read the field. He can most certainly, deliver a football accurately. But there's another part of his game that just isn't good. Pocket presence. It's just not good. It's just not, acceptable. Because there's a lot of times where he will bail out of a clean pocket. He won't manage the pass rush properly. He'll take bad sacks. Those are major flaws. Like, he does not have good pocket presence. He could do basically everything else very, very well, but pocket presence has been coming up this year. And that's why I think we should, use more of these RPOs and these quick plays, because you don't need Jalen to manage a pocket as well if we're doing more of the quick stuff. That's what this offense was made for, essentially. I mean, A.J. Brown, he's a lead on slants. And yeah, I know, with the fade ball and everything, with the shot play, he's good. He's really good. He's amazing. But, get him on some slants. Get Smitty, running some great, curl routes. I mean, he's a great route runner. He could, you could get Dallas Goedert with the short passes and, where he rumbles, what Steichen used to do. This is all stuff that Steichen used to do, but the Eagles just, they changed it. They changed it, in a way that just doesn't work for how this offense was meant to be. And I know, we can get shot plays because this offensive line is obviously the best in the league. Like, there's no doubt about it. They will pass block very perfectly. And Jalen does get a lot of time in the pocket, so he is able to get these shot plays. But when he does get pressured, the offense is... I mean, he has his moments of good pocket presence. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you see he just steps up into that clean pocket. He just, he bails and he'll throw it on the run. Make a big play out of nothing, and you're just like, wow, dude, why does he do this all the time? And then there's other plays where he just bails out of a clean pocket and throws it out of bounds, right? And that happens 5 times a game. That is just not acceptable quarterback play, at least not to me. And it would be better if Jalen Hurts was healthy, because he's developed as a pocket passer. He's better at just, reading the field and throwing the football this year than last year probably. But, I mean, without the ability to run, those scrambles that he has, those runs, they're not getting, the same amount of yardage that they used to because he's hurt. It's just really unfortunate. But the offense is still fine. It's the defense that mainly worries me. And about Seattle, I think our offense is going to perform well, have a good day, because Seattle's defense is just a bunch of players, really. It's just a group of people, of good players, of talent, but they just don't really know how to put it all together. just this weird conglomeration of talent, and it's not like complete on the defensive line. They have Witherspoon, but the secondary is I don't think they're gonna do all that much against the Eagles' offense. Um, our defense, however, is God. I mean, Slay on DK Metcalf scares me. Any of our old quarters on Tyler Lockett scares me. Geno Smith doesn't scare me as much because he's not having a great season. I don't know. I think we do win this game because Seattle's just so weird and inconsistent on offense as well. That's another big problem of theirs. We better win. I mean, if we don't win, like, the season is over. I believe because, I mean, already us getting the 1 seed, I feel like is a little bit of a long shot because expecting the 49ers not to win out from here is tough. If we do win out, then the division is guaranteed because I mean we do control our own destiny. Even though the Cowboys are ahead of us in the division standings right now, if we win out, we have a better in-conference record. And we have the same in-division record. We get the division. So, but we have to win out. We have to. Like, I mean, we just do. It's just the truth of the matter, Anyways, that's my rant on the Eagles, and I guess a little bit on the Seahawks, I guess. And, of course, the pickers for this week. Chiefs and Patriots. I don't know, 28-6, dude. The Patriots suck. I'll leave you with that. Bye, everyone.